the emergence of a new education curriculum investigation into the pros and cons. In a small community in Buari Area Council sits young Aisha in her classroom, staring blankly at the blackboard, probably wondering what relevance the topic on ancient civilization has to do with her when she should be learning practical skills to tackle contemporary challenges confronting her family and by extension her. The teacher struggles to engage her students, realizing the curriculum's shortcomings, such as 1. Outdated content, still teaching 20th century materials in the 21st century. 2. Lack of practical skills, with students excelling in the theoretical aspects yet struggling to apply concepts to real-life problems. 3. Overemphasis on theory. The curriculum prioritized rote memorization over critical thinking and problem solving. 5. Limited focus on STEM education. With Nigeria's growing technology, industries require skilled professionals, but the curriculum does not provide adequate STEM education. Another challenge is inadequate attention to soft skills, emotional intelligence, communication, and teamwork, as well as failure to address local challenges such as environmental sustainability, cultural heritage, and social justice.
So what should necessitate a new curriculum is a divide between town and gown, which is the difference between what occurs on the street in the real life and what is being taught in the class. It should be a synergy. What is being taught in the class should be what feeds the industrial revolution that is happening on the streets or in real life. So once that bridge is broken, then we need to actually look at it again and like, okay, how can we bridge this gap? So that's what necessitates a new curriculum, which I think we are on the right path here, but we just have to execute it right. Once there is a difference between what should be and what is, then you know that you need to prepare for something new. So in the educational space in Nigeria, there is already a gulf between what should be and what is. What should be is that once you're done with basic education, you should be able to hold on to something tangible and be productive with it. What occurs is that everybody comes out of secondary school and they are rushing to get into the tertiary institution. There is no stoppage for how can I be productive. But the problem with that is what we're also seeing is a deferred hopelessness, because people still come out of these tertiary institutions because it's the same way that they've been taught in secondary school. They just go straight away like that into university or polytechnic or whatnot, and then they come out and it's like, who will now employ me now? We don't think in terms of how can I be an employer of labor, which is a problem that skills will solve for us.
Hence, the necessity for a review to come up with a new curriculum, one necessary to integrate modern technologies and innovative teaching methods, foster critical thinking, creativity, and problem solving, as well as emphasize practical skills and real-world applications.
First of all, we've got to understand the language we are using. We say the government wants to change the curriculum. I don't think the government is trying to change the curriculum. The government wants to improve on what is on the ground, because we are a changing and evolving society and nothing is static. So being a dynamic society, and also we are shifting. If we are agrarian, we are becoming technological. So therefore we cannot use the curriculum of an agrarian environment in a technological setup. So the curriculum, from my understanding, is not being changed, rather is being improved upon to meet the needs of today, which is we have to be technology driven. Okay, now when we cite other countries, of course we need to draw the experiences of other countries to be able to handle our own situation. So as a country, we are just 64, and almost any beautiful program we need in this country, we have it. It's a question of systematically following it so that people will become socialized into it. The problem is sometimes we become too impatient and we are too fast. And when we become too fast, even the implementer of any policy will become overwhelmed.
The new curriculum, it's necessary because for the longest time we've been steeped in the past, and I was following the process. It was broad. The curriculum is broad, it's far-reaching, and as a result, that makes it good because you cannot make a curriculum from a narrow standpoint. And for the longest time, we've seen a disconnect between real life and what people are being taught in Nigerian secondary schools. So the curriculum intends to address that and prepare school leavers for the practicable world out there. So on that front, on the curriculum development front, I think a thorough job has been done.
The new curriculum will also prioritize STEM education and soft skills development. It will address local challenges and cultural relevance, as well as prepare and equip students with the knowledge to face a rapidly changing world. This is what best suits Aisha and her peers, a curriculum that will equip them to drive Nigeria's progress and solve its unique challenges.
I think the one thing that is exciting about it is skill set. Yeah, because for the longest time, Nigeria is we were a skilled nation, quote unquote. Let me put it that way. Because while you are in school, for the average student, especially for the average student that went to a public secondary school, more often than not, what we see is people go to schools in the morning, into the afternoons, and then in the evenings they go to a place to be apprentices. They learn skills. For some other people, it's on the weekend. For some others, it is during the holidays. So we have this kind of culture that frowns against being idle. So, and it's usually a this or that thing. Oh, if you are educated, don't forget to also get a handiwork, a skill that you can leverage on. If you also have a skill, don't forget to get some more education in order to balance out. The number of people in universities today make money on the side because they have a skill that they can leverage, whether it's a tech skill, whether it's tailoring, whether it's barbing. The average Nigerian child can at one point or the other say, oh, I had this skill set.
sonye anyị n'ileba anya na ọtụtụ mpụ na nrụrụ aka jupụtara na ụlọ akwụkwọ gọọmenti ndị nọ n'isi obodo Naijiria bụ Abuja, tụmadụ ka o si metụta mmụta na agụmakwụkwọ n'ogo dịgasị iche iche n'ebe ụmụntakịrị nwoke na nwaanyị nọ, ndị ntorobịa, ụmụ nwaanyị tinyekwara ndị nwere nkwarụ sonye ihe emereme Leaves and Worms na AD4 TV Radio, ebe a na-eleba anya ma na-atụgharị atụmatụ gọọmenti dịgasị iche iche ka o siri metụta isiokwu a akpụ n'ọnụ. Na-esonyere anyị n'ihe emereme a kwa izu ụka ọbụla n'akara mgbasa ozi anyị niile. Ọ bụ AD4 TV Radio na njikọ aka Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism tinyekwara MacArthur Foundation kwadoro ma hụ maka nke a.
We love AD4 TV Radio.
Now, these are the issues that prompted the Nigerian government to begin crafting a new curriculum, one that will empower future generations to thrive in an ever-evolving world. The new curriculum, many say, is not just a necessity, but a beacon of hope for Nigeria's future.
Bringing that into the core educational system now, where you don't have to do this or that, where you can do this and then you have an outcome for both. It's interesting, it's exciting. And also that will now put some form of structure to the apprenticeship system. With that being drafted into the educational system, we now see systematic structure. We now see a point where a young school leaver can even decide, oh, I'm not going to any tertiary institution. I'm going to branch out from this skill that I've learned. knowing that they have learned both the technical side and the business side by being educated, and then they can have a go at the business.
It is pertinent to note that the Nigerian education system has undergone numerous reforms over the years, but none many say is as groundbreaking as the newly introduced curriculum, as this revised framework aims to equip students with 21st century skills, fostering innovation, critical thinking, and problem-solving techniques.
We now have a curriculum at the basic education level, which incorporates numerous occupations and skills. Students will now learn carpentry, plumbing, POP, IT, digital skills in school.
One of the most outstanding features of the new curriculum is its focus on STEM education: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. This focus is expected to boost Nigeria's capacity for technological advancement and economic growth. This shift emphasizes practical application over theoretical knowledge, ensuring students are better prepared for the modern workforce. Another significant advantage of this curriculum is its emphasis on vocational training. With this, students can now explore various skills such as coding, agriculture, and entrepreneurship, providing alternatives to traditional white-collar jobs. The curriculum is also considered flexible, as it allows teachers to adapt instructions to meet individual needs. The new curriculum also prioritizes soft skills development, including communication, teamwork, and emotional intelligence. This holistic approach recognizes that academic excellence alone is insufficient for success. The curriculum also incorporates vocational training and entrepreneurship, providing students with practical skills to succeed in the workplace, with the main aim of empowering students to become job creators, not just job seekers.
Now, when you want to improve on the curriculum for people to see that they need skills, this skills is very important because you can operate in your village. Government cannot provide all the jobs. It's not possible. Even the private sector now, we just buy and sell. That's not big business. Business is manufacturing, generating wealth, and providing riches to people. To me, that is what education should give, and I am happy that entrepreneurship skills are being brought into it. Okay, take most of the countries you talk about. You don't need to become a professor before you can read a manual of a TV. So if you have one or two professors who can sit down and work out all the calculations and bring out what it means to build up a television, then all you need some people with diplomas who can now be able to translate the manual, bring this to the level so that anybody who can read and write can do that. So if you improve primary school, you improve secondary school, I can tell you not many would like to go for a long way to become university professors, because it's a hard job.
What this is doing is it is adding skill sets to the conventional Nigerian schooling system, while the vocational school is built mainly for vocation. So say for instance, in the vocational school, you're mainly going in for vocation. So you might have maybe 2 or 3 subjects or 4 that teaches you the business side of things, or say mathematics for measurement, English for you to be able to converse and things like that. But what we're seeing with this new curriculum is these students are not vocation based primarily. They are still steeped in the normal schooling system. The vocation they are getting is just an additive. And mind you, it is not going to be as rigorous as the vocational school, because in the vocational school, the focus is on vocation.
Other prominent features of this new curriculum include integration of digital literacy and coding from primary school level, introduction of financial literacy and entrepreneurship courses, emphasis on environmental education and sustainability, inclusion of Nigeria, history, and cultural studies to promote national identity, plus mandatory vocational training for senior secondary students. The implementation of this curriculum may not be without challenges, as some experts highlight and argue that the revised curriculum places undue emphasis on technology, potentially marginalizing students from disadvantaged backgrounds. Meanwhile, not all schools have access to computers or reliable internet. There is also the need for many teachers to be trained in order to effectively deliver the new curriculum, and resource constraints may hinder some schools' ability to adapt, some experts argue.
Ẹ darapọ̀ mọ́ wa lórí ètò Leaves and Worms lórí ẹ̀rọ rédíò AD for TV radio bí a ó ṣe máa fojú lámẹ̀yìntàn wo àwọn ìwà ìbàjẹ́ lórí ètò ẹ̀kọ́ ní gbogbo ẹ̀ka ètò ẹ̀kọ́ ní àwọn ilé ìwé ìjọba tó wà nílùú Àbújá tí ń ṣe olú ìlú orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà àti ipa irúfẹ́ ìwà ìbàjẹ́ náà máa ń kó lórí àwọn ọ̀dọ́mọdébìnrin ọ̀dọ́mọdékùnrin àwọn àkàndá ènìyàn àwọn obìnrin àti ọ̀dọ́ lápapọ̀. Bákan náà lórí ètò yìí a ó tún máa ṣàgbéyẹ̀wò nípa àwọn ètò ìlànà ìjọba tó ṣe pàtàkì àti ipa tí wọ́n ń kó lórí àwọn olùgbé ìlú Àbújá. Ẹ fojú sọ́nà bí a ó ṣe máa jẹ̀gbádùn ètò alárinrin yìí lọ́sọ̀ọ̀sẹ̀. Ilé-iṣẹ́ AD for TV radio pẹ̀lú àjọṣepọ̀ ẹ̀ka ilé-iṣẹ́ Wọlé Ṣóyínká lórí ètò ìròyìn ìwádìí ló ṣe atọ́kùn ètò yìí pẹ̀lú ìrànlọ́wọ́ àjọ MacArthur Foundation.
It's a wonderful thing that we want to do. We want to teach skills. We want to upskill the population. But how do we go about it? Have we identified people that will take students through this? Are we training them? What's the period? What's the level of training? And all of these things. Because with the conventional schools, we are having the problem of underqualified, undertrained, under-remunerated teachers. Now, do we want to bring that same model into teaching skill sets? So I think that's a place where the national directorate needs to look into thoroughly. How do we implement this? Do we need more time to train the trainers and several other issues like that? So because that, how we lay the foundation of this is going to showcase in the proficiency of the skill sets that we're putting out. How are we training these people? Is it that we are recruiting from maybe say polytechnic because they have like a more thorough skill-based background, or are we still recruiting from universities and we're saying, oh, okay, only those who have a bachelor's in education are the people that we are recruiting, knowing that people that have a bachelor's in education are only focused on theoretical aspects. How do we bridge that gap? These are the questions that stakeholders should ask and be honest in how they answer it. Because once we get into this, and how we get into this is how we will continue with it. We cannot start reinventing the wheel after we started the journey.
Questions such as, will the ministry be able to navigate through the logistical hurdles, funding constraints, and potential resistance from some quarters? All these require answers.
You're thinking manpower. You've also got to think about what the manpower will do when they eventually arrive. Already, the budgetary allocation is insufficient for what we're currently doing. Now, if we're saying we're rolling out this new curriculum and all of the perks that comes with it, because if we are going to reap the benefits, then we've got to invest in it now. There is no supplementary budget that goes into that. So already we are preparing to fail. In 2025, that we're preparing to do the full rollout. Okay, what are the steps that will be taken to bump up the budgetary allocation? Have we started conversations with mass producers of this equipment? what's the modality going to be like for private schools? Do we have a monitoring arm that will go around and be like, okay, even for private schools that normally you would not open your doors to ministry people, but we've got to like be able to check, do you have this equipment? Are you in line with this new curriculum? So, and like you said, it does not come cheap. So that already tells us that we've got to see a bump up in the budgetary allocation towards education. We have to see improved manpower. We have to see improved training. And we've also got to pay for this equipment. How many secondary schools across the nation are we going to put this equipment? What equipment are we putting where? Logistics in terms of shipping these things in, we're already an import-based economy. You cannot say, we want to start, it's not now that we'll say we want to start working with a local manufacturer of computers. We don't have that. So how do we ship these things in? What's our timeline really? And again, with a lot of things in Nigeria, the thought process, the ideation might be good, but when we get to execution, we start to see a lot more crack in the walls, which is the problem with this.
Although the government has pledged significant investment in teacher training and infrastructural development, only time will tell.
The ideation is good, but that timeline looks rushed compared to everything that has to be in place for this to kick off successfully. And if we get ourselves into a point where we are explaining welding by word of mouth to people, to students, then we already have a problem. We will then graduate students that understand how welding works. They understand it quite all right, but they cannot stand in the flames and put on their Googles. They understand how it works. So if we have to put it on ice for maybe say 1 more year, it's not a problem, but we should do this right, because that is the only way to do it. Anything that is worth doing at all is worth doing well and right.
For now, AD4 TV radio investigation, supported by Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism and the MacArthur Foundation, amongst other stakeholders, will be monitoring closely the revised curriculum's impact with a view to assessing and evaluating implementation and progress. As Nigeria's education system takes a new turn, the evolution of the new curriculum represents a critical step toward empowering the next generation in balancing innovation with inclusivity, through which Nigeria can cultivate a workforce equipped to drive progress and prosperity.
Somebody who doesn't have knowledge, and he cannot be able to put value on himself. And a lot of people think your value is based on monetary terms. No, it's far, far beyond that. The capacity to be the master of your own self and be able to say no to something which you think will cheat your country, will cheat other people, and make things worse. So to me, I'm very happy that entrepreneurship is being brought into it, into education, and making everybody to think. Why is it that somebody with a diploma and they are able to do this? Why should somebody with a degree not have the job to do?
The implementation timeline as released by the Ministry of Education is as follows: 2023, pilot rollout in selected schools; 2024, nationwide implementation, while the year 2025 will be for evaluation and assessment.
NERDC, working with the relevant departments of the ministry, will commence work immediately on senior secondary school, so that by October or September school session of 2025, the one for senior secondary school will also be ready for implementation.
The budget allocation for the new curriculum is as follows: teacher training, 10 billion; infrastructure development, 20 billion; resource materials, 5 billion; and monitoring and evaluation, 2 billion, making a total budget of 37 billion naira. The success of these new curriculum, experts say, will largely be determined by the collaboration between educators, policymakers, and stakeholders who can only work together to achieve the goals and create a world-class education system that prepares students for an ever-changing world.
We need this high skill to be able to train the middle manpower. But when we shift, everything must be at the top. Then who manages the lower one? Okay? So to me, I'm not discrediting, no, because it's a hard job. As a professor, I often make a joke. There are two people who profess, a professor and a prophet. So you are a professor based on what comes out of your life and what comes out of your mouth and what you do. Just like a prophet, when he speaks, you can't fault him, because he speaks with the power of God. He's an oracle of God. So a professor also is an oracle of knowledge. If you play down on that knowledge, well, you cannot go beyond being a dwarf at whatever level. That's why you must respect education. Education is the key to everything, but it must be well planned. That's why I'm happy government is now very serious. We must also support the government to be able to arrive at the destination. Government has a time span, especially if it is a political government. So whatever foundations they lay, we should build on it, not destroy it. Okay, whether you like the government or not, as long as there is a leader, your civic responsibility is to obey and to support what goes in.
As Nigeria embarks on this education reform journey, the stakes are high. The success of the new curriculum will depend on adequate and timely funding, effective implementation, stakeholder engagement, and a commitment to continuous improvement. Time will tell if this bold initiative will yield the desired results or not.
From inside closed doors of schools' administrations to the workings of education policies, the tasks of teachers, students and pupils, Leaves and Worms on AD4 TV Radio tracks the critical issues in public education within Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory. Leaves and Worms brings you authoritative investigative insights into state of public schools in the FCT, reporting it as it is, factual, detailed and resourceful. Watch Leaves and Worms on AD4 TV Radio. AD4 TV Radio, reliable and credible.